Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I'm your host, and today we're embarking on a pretty epic quest. You can think of me as your official Print Production Guild guide, and this explainer, well, this is your quest log. If you've ever tried to summon some custom merch for a massive event and just ended up totally stressed out, completely out of time, or holding a sad box of blurry t-shirts, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're mastering the single most critical mechanic of the custom merchandise game, and that is print turnaround times. We are going to decode exactly how these orders go from a simple idea in your head to a finished physical product in your hands. So let's just start with a super common scenario. Why can't you just order, say, 500 custom shirts the week before your big event? Well, trying to execute a massive, last-minute order like that is essentially like trying to fight a final boss at level 1. You don't have the resources, you definitely don't have the time, and honestly, it almost always ends in a total party wipe. Custom printing isn't just pulling a digital item off a shelf. It's a highly intricate, highly physical crafting process. To get you properly leveled up, here are our mission objectives on the agenda today. First, we're diving into the custom merch quest. Then we'll cover what turnaround time actually means, followed by starting the production clock. After that, we'll map out the journey of an order, explore why quality takes time, and wrap up with planning your next event. Let's do this. Starting off with Section 1, the custom merch quest. Now, the ultimate goal for any client is to secure flawless, custom-crafted gear, right? But before the printing presses even warm up, you have to gather the right materials. This is literally the very first boss battle of your quest, your artwork. Vector art is your ultimate weapon here. Acceptable formats are .ai, .eps, .pdf, or really high-resolution raster files sitting at 300 dpi or higher. If you try to bring a low-res JPEG screenshot to the forge, your print is going to be a blurry, pixelated mess. In fact, most reputable print shops will flat-out reject poor quality art. And if they don't, they're going to charge you an art separation fee. We're talking anywhere from $30 to over $80 an hour just to redraw it. So, make sure you bring the right weapon to the fight. Moving right along to Section 2, what is turnaround time? Let's uncover what is probably the most misunderstood rule of the entire game. Standard turnaround time is typically 7 to 14 business days, but listen closely, because here is the golden rule you absolutely must memorize. This timeline strictly refers to the time it takes to actually produce the items. It entirely excludes shipping or transit time. Turnaround time is the crafting phase, not the delivery phase. So if you need gear in your hands in exactly 14 days and you live 5 days away from the print shop, well, a 14-day turnaround means you're already late. And that brings us to a really massive misconception. A lot of times, clients think their clock starts the very moment they send an email, ask for a quote, or drop a deposit. But no, the printer's clock only starts when absolutely all variables are locked in. As the old guild masters like to say, inquiries and raw submissions only reserve a spot in the design queue, not the production schedule. Asking for a quote is kind of like just standing in the local tavern talking about a quest. The actual production schedule, the forge itself, doesn't open its doors to you until everything is totally finalized. Those unapproved mock-ups and initial email threads, they do not count toward your turnaround time. You're basically just in the waiting room. Section 3, starting the production clock. So if inquiries don't start the timer, what actually activates that ticking countdown? Well, the clock starts ticking only after you meet 3 very specific conditions. First, artwork approved. You have to literally sign off on the final digital mock-up. Second, payment cleared. Your deposit or full payment has to be successfully processed by the shop. And third, blank garments arrived. The physical blank shirts or hoodies actually need to be sitting right there in the printer's warehouse. Until all 3 of these stars line perfectly, your turnaround countdown is basically frozen at 0. Section 4, the journey of an order. Okay, so once the clock is finally ticking, what's actually happening behind the scenes? According to project managers from massive commercial printers, an average large project goes through up to 13 steps. Just think about that. It starts with receiving info and reviewing specs, figuring out pricing, getting client approvals. Next up is art prep, generating digital proofs, and handling client revisions. Oh, and sometimes this requires physical prototypes, which, you guessed it, leads to even more revisions. All of this back and forth basically casts a pause spell on your timer. Only after all of that do we hit actual production, which alone can take anywhere from 3 to 29 days. And finally, you have shipping and installation. It is a massive, incredibly physical undertaking. And get this, the timeline actually changes based on the specific crafting magic you're using. Let's break down the different methods. Standard screen printing and embroidery generally sit pretty comfortably at that 7 to 14 business day mark. But custom patches, those are manufactured completely from scratch, so they can take 10 to 14 days. And then there's dye sublimation. That process requires transferring intricate, vibrant graphics into synthetic fabric using continuous heat press processes, and that takes a solid 3 to 4 weeks or 15 to 20 business days.
Section 5. Why quality takes time.
Now, we've seen how complex the process is, right? So rushing this intricate workflow is a really dangerous game. If you absolutely must compress a 14-day production timeline down to a frantic 1 to 5 days, you're going to face a pretty steep penalty fee. We are talking about a premium increase of 20% to 45% slapped right on top of your entire order cost. Let's look at exactly how hard your wallet is going to get hit. A lot of commercial decorators use a tiered rush fee system. Pushing the shop to finish just 1 day faster might add a 15% fee. 2 days faster jumps to 30%. And if you need it 3 days faster, you could be looking at a massive 45% premium. Being desperate is incredibly expensive, guys. And honestly, money aside, rushing literally puts your gear at risk. Burning a screen for screen printing is a highly meticulous process. Rushing leads to bad screens, muddy colors, and just totally compromised quality. This is exactly why the best print mentors and the most reputable shops out there prioritize quality over quantity. They intentionally cap their weekly orders, and they put a limit on the number of free design revisions, usually to about 2 rounds. They do this to protect the integrity of your prints and make sure their team isn't spread too thin. A good shop sets these strict boundaries so your final product turns out legendary, not rushed and completely ruined. Section 6. Planning your next event. All right, it is time to level up your planning skills so you can guarantee your next merch drop is a total success. Here are the final actionable tips from your guild guide. Number 1, get your high-resolution vector artwork ready super early. Number 2, select popular in-stock apparel blanks. Ordering some obscure item is going to add weeks to your timeline. Number 3, limit your design revisions by just making really thoughtful choices right up front. And lastly, always account for 1 to 5 extra business days purely for shipping transit time. You now have the knowledge to navigate the crazy, complex world of custom print production like a total pro. So I'm going to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. Look at your current designs right now. Look at the calendar on your wall. Is your artwork truly battle ready for your next big event? Or are you just sitting around waiting until the final boss music starts playing to actually prepare? Level up your planning today. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer quest, and hey, happy crafting!